we were in Charlotte at ACC kickoff talking with all the coaches, all the players, the ACC Commissioner Jim Phillips, right? All make statements, press conferences. They got their messages out. We are now back here on Friday, and the message has changed already. Wait, what? Tuesday through Thursday, we're in Charlotte. Friday, throw out everything you learned in Charlotte. According to ACC Commissioner Jim Phillips, now the conference is absolutely open to expansion. As long as the schools would make them better. Exactly. You need how did we get here? I'm done with Phillips' reactionary leadership. Phillips told ESPN yesterday, okay? He had opening comments on Tuesday that we all sat for, right? It was big deal, right?
Huge deal.
The way the ACC kickoff event was set up was there was the radio little room, right? And that's where they had trophies set up. That's where we were for the majority of our time. There was what I'm calling the big room. That's where the big press conferences were. A lot of the writers hung out there. There was a writer's workroom, and then there were a few other little offshoots. There was nobody in any room but the big room when Jim Phillips was talking on Tuesday. Right? Standing room only. We were in there, and we listened to the entire deal, and I didn't get the vibe that he was anywhere near actively or absolutely open to adding anybody to the ACC.
Other than Notre Dame.
Yes, but even that wasn't actively. That was passively. That was the door is open for them if they ever want it. That's what that was. Right? Hey, Notre Dame, we've had those conversations. They know we want them as a full member, so the door is open. And then something happened, right? This is the full timeline. No urgency to or even openness really to expanding on Tuesday. On Wednesday, news breaks that Colorado is leaving the Pac-12 for the Big 12. On Thursday, the ACC is, quote, by the way, quote, he told them on Thursday, I'll read it for you. The ACC has been and remains highly engaged in looking at anything that makes us better and stronger as a conference. We've spent considerable time on expansion to see if there's anything that fits. We have a tremendous group of institutions, but if there was something that made us better, we would absolutely be open to it. That's Thursday. There is nothing more I hate from a leader than being reactionary. Right? That feels like you're on your heels. That feels like you are being told what to do rather than doing what's best for you and the group you're leading. You have to be proactive, right? You have to go get what you think is best. Mm-hmm. I listened to the full Jim Phillips ACC intro. Dennis, we were standing right next to each other.
That's what I would say. Took the words right out of my mouth.
We were standing right next to each other. We had WRAL there. We had
Pat Welter was right next to us.
We were all there.
Victoria was right next to us too.
Victoria was right next to us, mumbling under our breaths to each other occasionally. We were all there. Adam was sitting. He got there early. Got the chair, so he was there. There was no excitement about expansion. Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, I was probably mumbling under my breath. What? Why aren't they talking about expansion? Because I've been on team, they need to expand for a long time. So maybe this is they're ending up at the right spot, right? Because if now suddenly they get the kick in the pants they need to go chase down beneficial new members, then it's all right, you ended up at the right spot, but you ended up there the wrong way. And that alone is enough to be concerned. Right? Doing it because you're reacting or because you're scared into doing it is the wrong reason, and that will likely lead you to making the wrong choices when expanding. Because here's how I think the ACC should operate. The ACC should be very, very active in every single expansion conversation. Mm-hmm. They should not be desperate. Okay? Because let's look at it the way they are now. 14 and a half teams. Is that fair?
Yeah.
14 teams plus a half of Notre Dame because you don't have football, which is half, even if you have all the rest of the sports. So 14 and a half teams. I don't believe you ever want to go above 20. So you have 4.5 slots. Don't take the first or anyone that's interested. Don't do that, right? 5.5. You're right.
Yeah.
Thank you. You could have jumped on the mic and said that. Dennis was being nice.
I was.
He was signaling 5.5 through the screen here, through the glass. Trust me, you'll be correcting my quick on the air math forever and ever. So do not feel like you have to be timid with that one. I'm not sensitive. 5.5 slots. Either way, a limited number, and it's not a ton. You don't want to fill them up with teams that were first come, first serve, and then learn, your number one option would be interested in it. You know what I mean? I think there are teams out. I think West Virginia makes a lot of sense. They won't like the Academics, I believe. We'll see.
Well, you have the natural rivalry with Pitt already.
Natural rivalry with Pitt, natural rivalry with Virginia Tech. Regionally, it makes sense. I think Kansas makes a lot of sense if you want to continue to hold on to your status, at least colloquially, as the best basketball conference in the country. SEC and Big Ten both making strides there. There's a lot that makes sense, but I wouldn't want to just rush into whoever's next, right? I think the Big 12 did a little bit about that because they were desperate, right? And that's kind of the round that ended with UCF and Houston and Cincy and BYU. They actually were desperate. I don't think the ACC should be desperate. But there's not you should be calling the Texases and Oklahomas every couple of weeks. So at least if and when they started going, hey, you know what, the SEC looks good, you could make your pitch. Now, I don't know if you would have gotten them. Probably not. But you should be able to make your pitch there. There's nothing that should be a surprise. And it feels like they got surprised by Colorado moving from the Pac-12 to the Big 12 because now they're changing their entire aura, their entire outlook.
Well, we heard right there on the opener of the show, that was George Kliavkoff, the commissioner of the Pac-12, who said, yeah, we're all committed as Buffalo is leaving. I'm sorry, it's Buffalo, Colorado.
The Colorado Buffaloes.
Exactly. As Colorado is leaving. So, I'm sorry, there's nothing holding the Pac-12 together right now. I mean, if you really, ACC, if you're willing to go west, you could probably pick off some schools from out there.
Arizona State would look lovely.
Yeah. Oregon would look awesome.
Oregon would be,
Oregon and
again,
Washington
if you're willing to travel,
great.
There's a lot of opportunity there.
Yeah, because those bring Oregon's a name.
And Oregon's a name, and you'd probably try to get like a Washington or something to pair
Oregon
with them.
And Washington would be awesome.
And here's what else that does. For media rights deals, it opens up a whole other time slot.
Oh, yeah.
Right? That Pac-12 after dark time slot, which is the 8:30, 9 o'clock opening kick or opening tip time here on the East Coast, that is now open to you for every game that's played at home on the West Coast. Again, don't be desperate and take anybody. Right? Don't go out there and come back with Oregon State and Washington State. Go out there looking for Oregon and Washington. Come back with Oregon State and Washington State. Don't do that. But be involved. And not because you're scared, not because you're reacting, because you think it's what's best for the conference. And I'll tell you right now, it's what's best for the conference. On Tuesday, maybe. On Thursday, absolutely open to it. I don't like the flip-flopping nature of it. I like the good flip-flopping, by the way. I'm not against changing your mind. I say that often, right? If one day I say a team is good and 2 months later I say a team is not good, don't say, hey, you flip-flopped. I'll say, hey, I learned new information and changed my mind. I'm not locked into an opinion. But from Tuesday to Thursday, with just one little tweak from Colorado, you're changing your entire outlook. That's the flip-flopping I don't like. That means you weren't locked in or you hadn't actually judged every situation when you made your original opinion.